I've been traveling to Riyadh for over 2 years. And the first time I came, I really didn't know what to expect. And when I landed, I met some of the most hospitable people. Uh, Really, it's an anecdote. Whoever I've never met so many gentle people, so many honest people. So I look forward to keep meeting you again and again. But something happened yesterday for the first time in my Saudi trip. And what happened was, next to me, there were a lot of aged people, I would say, Saudi nationals, and they were very emotional. They were hugging me, they were capturing me, and I was like, just leave me alone. So what happened was, me and Ronaldo, we had a small blink, and I requested 3 goals. He scored 2, and the guys were like, yes, you requested and it happened. So we had a small, chemistry, and people really appreciated it. But the thing was, this emotions around me, it was something really special. So today, continuing with that same magical feeling, I hope we are able to guide you. There are a lot of questions when it comes to decoding social media. Whenever I've met marketers, CFOs especially, and I ask them where do they spend most of their marketing budgets, they say the biggest line item is paid media. So we thought, why not have a session dedicated on paid media? We of course have people from Snapchat, Adjust, Acquisite, and Tim Hortons. So these are experimenters, practitioners, and they've seen different cycles of how social media is implemented and worked on. So to start off with a small introduction, we have Jalila. Jalila has been working in shaping brand communication strategies for luxury FMCG brands, fashion. She has worked in Hawass Worldwide and Impact BBDO before. Right now, she's an cluster marketing manager for Tim Hortons, where she's brewing up fresh marketing approaches in the world of coffee and donuts. How lovely. One more thing about Jalila is she's an avid Star Wars fan. So she has a lot of Star Wars t-shirts, a wall with a Star Wars poster, her phone, laptop, everything has Star Wars stickers. And I let her comment on that. Oh, that's your husband. Oh, God. See, we just wanted some laughs. Thank you for that. Next, we have Ali Mortada from Snapchat. Ali was before in Kuwait at Shuairi Group for 9 years. And right now I'm sure most of you know him. I saw a lot of recognized faces along with him. So whenever I've spoken to the same people, okay, you say line item is paid media, but where do you spend the most? What is line item 1A? And they say Snapchat. So we got Snapchat. And we'll learn more from him how to use Snapchat effectively. To make sure there are more conversions. So thank you, Ali, for joining us. But what do you love the most? Snapchat or Call of Duty? Oh, God. Okay, please don't record this, yeah? Okay. Next, we have Edward. Edward has, of course, over 10 years experience in quantitative marketing field, background of data science and statistics. He's one of the co-founders of Acquisite. We work with Acquisite on multiple projects, including Almatar, Nice, and a couple of others. They have been very instrumental in crafting some very useful, campaign management. And they really get to the crux of it. What does the customer behavior actually tell you about the customer, and then how to increase the retention? So we'll pass the mic to Edward later on. And he's also an avid biker and an enthusiastic off-roader. So even if, let's say during your off-roading ventures, if you get stuck in desert, you know whom to call. Edward would be there to acquisite you. And last but not the least, we have Salim Al-Sabah. He's also, just like me, a consultant at Adjust. We consult people on how to make effective spend of every single dollar. So he'll guide us about mobile measurement platforms and how it can be used effectively. More about him, he speaks 5 languages, and he's a professional basketball player. He loves video games.
Former professional
but still,
I still play well, yeah.
You'll score more baskets than I do, so it's fine. So he loves memes. So I hope he doesn't make funny memes about us today. But yeah, thank you so much again for joining us. Talking of 5 languages, guys, please. I understand Arabic when they speak slow, but if you're able to express your emotions better in Arabic, please go for it. The language is no barrier. So we'll have captions. So please feel comfortable. Also, this session, after the end of the session, we'll have some Q&A. So that also can go in Arabic, and we'll be ready for it. Okay, so whom do we start with? I guess ladies first, right? With the coffee and donuts. So our question to you is, everywhere you go, you see Tim Hortons with a large cup on top of it. And of course, you don't need a lot of visibility, a lot of, you attract eyeballs while traveling in Riyadh, Jeddah, wherever in Saudi. But how do you balance these traditional marketing efforts with the social media branding efforts to enhance user engagement and retention? And of course, if you can give us some insights on your preferred channels of engagement and why are they preferred channels?
So I think currently I would say it's still Instagram. And the thing is, with Tim Hortons a couple of years ago, it was just one Tim Hortons Instagram page covering 6 markets. But then with this growth that we're having in terms of opening stores, right now we're at 290 stores, and the aim is to be 500 stores in 2025 for cafes. Suddenly, like in Saudi, we have maybe 170 cafes opened. It's not enough to have a Tim Hortons GCC page anymore, and you'll notice now we've expanded into Tim Hortons KSA. We just recently opened Tim Hortons Kuwait, because you need to talk to the people in their language or what is relevant to them in terms of content. Following that, though, I acknowledge also TikTok is a huge thing, but we haven't entered TikTok. It's in the plans. And myself, I've just moved to Riyadh 3 months ago. So every time I want to go out and eat, what do? I go on TikTok and I see the user-generated content. How does the restaurant look like? What food are they ordering? But even if I go and look into Tim Hortons, everyone's out there taking a video of their coffees. So obviously user-generated content is great, but also I need a brand page where I can also control the kind of launches I want to talk about or the new donuts that we have. So TikTok is also something. Then we have the app, and on the app, we have a tremendous number of users because obviously coffee is now, everyone drinks coffee sometimes twice, 3 times a day. So we do have these people who are always coming and grabbing their coffee. I remember when I was younger, I was like, I'm going to treat myself today over a cup. And then the rest of the days I'll have my coffee at home. But now I think everyone's just getting their coffee from outside. But that also allows us to look into the users and their patterns and then extract data from there. Now, how do I balance digital and the traditional? We're trying to do something different, and I want to connect it to the football topic that you brought up this morning, just now. I could always just push content. We have new coffee and donut and push these ads on websites. But recently I've partnered with, let's say, a football content creation team where I know whenever there's, and if you love football, you know the schedule of the the games that are happening. We know that because suddenly our cafes, specifically in Jeddah, are filled with customers that are even sitting on the floor watching football, specifically the ones that have outdoor seatings. So we've partnered with this content creator, and they go into the store and host games like, if you know Kobri, I had to learn a lot of football actually since joining Tim Hortons, and then like kicking the ball and doing these competitions and you get prizes, filming these videos and then pushing them on, if you go on Kura.com or any website that has football topics. Now we push ads with our customers having their cup of coffee, playing football games. So now you're like going to traditional because obviously you have stores and you need to interact with the customers, and then connecting that with digital as well. So that's one of our efforts that we're doing.
Nice. Talking about content, let's talk to Ali about Snapchat. And Ali, we'd like to know, what role does user retention play in success of a social media company? And can you also, in part two of this question, can you also highlight some strategies that have proven really effective in the Saudi Arabian market?
Of course. So user retention is super important for the success of any social media company. And it's not just about keeping users coming back to the platform. It's more about creating a positive experience that enhances engagement and encourages it as well. And also to keep users or give users something to come back to on the platform. And that essentially results in like higher engagement on the platform itself, which of course multiple advertisers will see it as an opportunity for them to reach that segment and engage with it as well, essentially driving revenue for the platform itself. So in short, super important to basically tap into that opportunity as for advertisers to tap on Snapchat. And if you look into Snapchat as an example for that, I mean, it's all about creating this sort of community for users to basically come back to. You have the maps on Snapchat, for example, and I was just talking to Jalila a little bit back, and she mentioned that whenever she wants to see something cool on Snapchat or all of the cool spots in Saudi, for example, on Snapchat, she just goes to the maps and sees all of those red dots on there, and basically look into snaps which were shared by people or users from there. And if you go on the chat section of Snapchat, which is where you can basically communicate with your friends and all of that. And of course, the most essential part of Snapchat, which is the camera, which is powered also by the AR technology that we have over there, which allows users to express themselves by taking snaps, taking photos, and sharing it with their friends, of course. And we have also the Discover section, which basically you can see all of these snaps posted by your friends and family as well. The Discover section also on the same part where users can basically check out content from local publishers, or and we have a number of publishers over there which are available, such as NBC, Layalina, and many others as well. And then, of course, the Spotlight section, which is more like a real sort of thing, a place for content creators to basically create their content and post it over there. So essentially, it all goes back to basically the Saudi culture and how they like to communicate with each other and everything, and how Snapchat empowers them to do so.
Okay. How many of us are here in the room using Snapchat actively? Nice.
That's not many hands.
You know what I like about Snapchat? Every time I think I'm done with Snapchat does something that brings me back on. Okay. So I won't be absent too long because they're always bringing in some new things.
I mean, I researched, and they had a record of 240 million daily active users during the COVID time. I mean, that's a good traffic. That's a good badge, and I'm sure over the years it has grown now.
So we just received like yesterday, basically after the Q3 earnings call, and now the Snapchat users globally are over 400 million.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, that's a feat.
That's amazing. Nearly double the growth. And I'd just like to share another fun story about Snapchat and how it basically brings you back to the platform. So I landed from a flight from Dubai to Riyadh a couple of weeks back, and I checked into my hotel and everything. I pull up my phone, and then my friend messages me, who was based in Riyadh, and he was like, "Dinner's on me tonight." And I was like, "No, I didn't share this with him. I didn't post anything on Snap and all." Turns out he basically went on Maps and saw me in Riyadh as an icon. Mm-hmm. Of course, because I chose to share my location and everything on there. And it just was like, "Dinner's on me tonight." Needless to say, we had a very huge meal.
Wow.
Late at night, so yeah.
Amazing. In fact, I think yesterday or day before you had some event. There was a choker block at Kaft.
Yeah, that's correct.
And the taxi guy was complaining some company is doing some event and they're choker blocks.
Yeah, we took part in the Riyadh Fashion Week we call the event Tasawwur, which is or basically resonates with AR, augmented reality, Tasawwur. So yeah, that was a huge event.
Nice. Now we know about how the user thinks. We know how about the social media platform thinks. But one technology that makes a marriage between these two is, of course, Adjust. And we have Salim over here to talk more about it. So Salim, if you can, in your own words, let the crowd know why is mobile measurement partner, an MMP, a must-have for digitally native firms today? And second would be, how does it become absolutely critical to drive user engagement in social media platforms?
Okay. So as we know, any business wanting to grow or sometimes to stay alive in this very competitive market, especially in MENA and Saudi as well, they need to market their products, to market their services, right? And this is not something that you only do once and you say, all right, guys, I'm done, I'm going home, right? It's a continuous procedure that requires a lot of management, right? A lot of dedication, a lot of time, energy, and optimization as well. So during these campaigns that you're running, right, the continuous procedure, you always have questions like, which campaign is performing the best for me, right? Where are my most valuable users coming from? You will have different KPIs. Could be like the number of installs, the cost per install, could be something else, like revenue, sometimes checkouts, especially for e-commerce and food and drinks app, right? So you need a place that you can see all this data on a single dashboard. And this is where the MMP comes, where Adjust comes, basically. Adjust will tell you the performance of every single campaign that you're running in terms of whatever KPIs that you have. This data is also provided real time, so you can interfere, you can take actions during your campaigns when they're live, and you can optimize them accordingly, right? Let's say I have a campaign X and a campaign Y, right? So you can see that, well, campaign X has a lower cost per install. So you might think, well, let me focus on this one. But if you check the other KPIs that Adjust will provide for you, you will see, well, campaign Y has a better return on investment, even though the cost per install is relatively higher than campaign X, but the revenue is way higher. So instead of, well, taking a decision in investing more in campaign X, it's smarter to do it in campaign Y, right? So this is where Adjust will come to show you all this data to help you take these data-driven decisions. Now you asked me about the importance of engagement for these users, to keeping them engaged, basically. Now, keeping the users engaged has many important impacts on your business, right? Some of them are direct, some of them are indirect. I'll mention just two examples here, one direct and one indirect. The direct one, the more engaged the users are, naturally, they will have a higher retention rate. Higher retention rate means more number of sessions, visits, right? More events being done on your app, more time spent. Eventually, the more events that are being done, one of these events will be purchasing, right? And this means higher revenue. And we all know from our experience in the market for longer than 20 years that bringing revenue from already existing user is faster and also less expensive than bringing revenue from users who do not have the app installed. So more engagement means eventually more revenue. This is a very direct result. Now, there is an indirect result that some people sometimes overlook, which is this. A more engagement means higher retention, right? Means more time spent on the app again, more events being done. This means more data that you can read and see. The more data you have, basically, the better decisions you can make and the better understanding of the user's behavior and what to do next you will have. Okay, so this is the importance of engagement, directly and indirectly, in my opinion.
Nice. But more on you mentioned more data. So in the same context of data privacy and regulations, how does it just ensure the MMP service respects user privacy while still having deliverable, valuable insights for marketers, considering now you have an iPhone and Google and all of them announcing very heavily on what data can be exchanged, what cannot be exchanged?
So I'll talk about Adjust, right? I don't know about the other MMPs. Adjust is a German-based company, and Germany is known for many things. One of these things is very strict privacy regulations, right? So to be located or based in a country where it's very known to be very strict on this topic and being compliant with these countries and the whole continent's regulations, this is something that will assure that, well, your data is safe, right? Eventually, Adjust is GDPR compliant. This is one. And Adjust is, mobile measurement partner. When I say partner, it means partner with all these different networks and platforms and channels, including Apple, for example, including Google. And these partners, each one, they have their own regulations. Adjust, not many of you know it, but we get audited by both the government of the country where we are based and also from our partners to make sure that we're 100% compliant and that we never happened before, that we never basically abuse these regulations.
Got it. Now we understand why you spend on social media. We also understood the technology behind it. Maybe let's move to Edward and understand the practical example, the experimentation of technology and this use case. So maybe if you can highlight, with this rise of mobile apps and social media platforms, how can advertisers adapt and target their audience respectively in Saudi Arabia? So we're talking more of Saudi context, considering the local culture and preferences.
Okay. So the first thing to have in mind is that there's no secret recipe or unique recipe that you should apply for Saudi, for UAE, for Kuwait, for Bahrain. No. The most important thing is to be sure that you're measuring everything first. So this is where platforms like Adjust, platforms like Google Analytics, and then the own pixels and measurement solutions of the different platforms is super important to put in place and make sure that they are well configured. Why is that? Because it will allow you to go into a test and learn approach. And this test and learn approach is not unique to KSA. However, it will give us results that will be different for a brand that is operating in KSA and in other countries. What does it mean to test and learn? It means to adapt iterative methodology. This iterative methodology will allow you to launch campaign and very quickly, in sometimes live fashion, measure the impact of that campaign on your upper funnel, on your mid funnel, and on your lower funnel, and then take action accordingly. In an iterative process also, you need to have multiple dimensions you can play with. So what does that mean? This means that going back to the idea of there is no single recipe, if we often get clients or prospects telling us, how should I spend my money? How much percentage there? How much percentage here? How much percentage there? I go, we don't know. We have to test and learn. And this, because we are measuring, we're able to get this ideal split depending on the season, depending on the activation, depending on the geography. And having more degrees of liberties, and by that I mean using more and more social platforms, using more and more advertising channels, allows you to go further in your testing. Okay. So this is super important. Now, if we go back to the point of KSA itself, what I love about KSA is that it's very homogeneous. And this is unique in the GCC. So it means two things. Either you adapt or you embrace. So if you're a multinational company or a regional company and you're operating in KSA, you need to adapt your content to KSA. And if you're a KSA company, you need to embrace that fact and push more and more content that is KSA centric. And here I want to go back to what was said earlier, is leveraging UGC is user generating content. So content that isn't heavily produced, that doesn't cost thousands and thousands of reals to produce, and time and money and teams is something that has been growing in popularity, but as well in impact and on all stages of the funnel. This resonates much better with the audiences. We're seeing better KPIs on it, and it's much easier and natural for the brand to adapt or embrace when they're using UGC.
Nice. test, run, and geography. So based on that, maybe we can take some inputs from Jalila. Can you share some examples of innovative engagement campaigns that you have seen successfully resonated in Saudi Arabia? Current example, or your previous example while working with Impact or Havas or IKEA, our beloved customer. So if you can share some examples.
Maybe if I can touch upon IKEA when it comes to, I guess the brand identity itself is trying to create a solution for your home rather than trying to furnish your home. So when it comes to data, we would visit different houses and converse with the local people and understand what are your difficulties when it comes to living at home. Is it organization? Is it when you come into the house, you don't like seeing the shoes thrown around? So we came up with a whole organization campaign that really tackles the problems that we have at home. And I think even with IKEA, I don't work with IKEA anymore, but like you'll see on the roads, they did have something when it comes to organizing your mess. And I think that's something that resonates with the people. Everyone has a house, everyone has mess that they need to declutter. So I think that's really good. But also, there was a burger brand, Burgerizer. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm new here, but they had a really funny ad about if you repeat two words, it's stressing on a certain point in Arabic. And it was, I don't know, has anyone seen it? The Burgerizer ad? It was like double. If this is really good, marra marra. And they would just repeat words twice to stress on the fact of how good the burger is or when communicating between friends. And I thought that was super relevant to the market that people use. And it was so memorable that my friends and I were sharing it across. So, yes, that one. I didn't have the burger, but I really want to go now after seeing that ad. I saw it last week.
And Ali, if you can share some examples of what you might have seen in this market.
Yeah.
Because everyone will for sure put it on Snapchat as well.
Of course. So there was one campaign in specific that basically highly resonated with the Saudi audience. And back if I remember in 2022 when the Saudi Founding Day was announced, and the Saudi Tourism Authority basically wanted to partner with Snapchat in order to harness the power of Snapchat and use it to drive engagement on the platform. So what they ended up doing is they created this augmented reality lens, which you can experience through the Snapchat camera itself. And it basically, what it did was it asked you to scan your face or basically hold the camera in front of your face, and it would dress you with the traditional Saudi outfit. So, and accompanied also by another filter, which also shows like the traditional Saudi landscape or that. So, what that resulted in was, I think it reached about 15 million users in one day only.
Wow.
And it had around 500 million impressions in total, as well as 10 years and 9 months of playtime on the Snapchat camera itself. And the share rate of the filter was around 20%. So that was like a huge success, and we've never seen such numbers before on Snap, to be honest, within just 1 day of engagement. So yeah.
Nice. So this was globally #1 campaign?
No, this was just launched in Saudi, the Saudi Founding Day last year.
Nice. Moving to Edward, how does Saudi Arabian digital advertising market compare to regional and global markets? And what are the unique opportunities or obstacles? You mentioned a few, it is irrespective of the region, but if you can elaborate a little more on this subject.
So I think in the subject of social media, what is remarkable in KSA is the buzz that can happen after a campaign. The amount of people that are commenting, interacting, and the engagement in general in the country is much bigger than what we see in the rest of the region. This has two sides to it. If it goes well, then it's great for you.
Yeah.
You can leverage it. And if it goes bad, then you have to contain it. And one of the ways to control that we've seen work really well is having a very strong customer service department that can support post-campaign, during campaigns, to make sure that you land on the right side of your campaign. So this is the first less technical part. Now, in terms of specificities of KSA specifically, more than the rest of the region, and then the region more than the rest of the world, is that the AI solutions that were deployed by the different advertising platforms, from Google to Meta to Snapchat, are, from what we're seeing, from what we're hearing, from what we're measuring, again, go back all the time to measurement, because you take decision based on measurement, are actually working better than elsewhere in the globe. And the reason is that we have less people that are opting out from tracking in the region across the different platforms. So this allows the AI products of the different advertising platform to perform much, much better in this region. So it's really a good time to leverage that, to make sure that your setup is done so that you can do so. And the third point is the usability of first-party data. I think that this is not an obstacle, but rather an opportunity for businesses in the country. I think that with measurement and with better analytics and with better data awareness in the company, you will be able to create first-party data in much bigger volumes and then leverage it through platforms like WebEngage, but also to fuel your next social campaigns by feeding the algorithm data that has been segmented based on your business needs back into the platform. And this is a very, very big opportunity, because we do see lack of adoption still. So people and brands that will go into applying this will gain a very big competitive advantage.
Nice. Well, we've gone a little overboard, so thank you so much.
WebEngage. Retention simplified.